This is the meal that Jesus has with his disciples the night of his arrest. And in this meal, he is preparing them for what life will be like without him physically present. And so he takes a bowl of water and a towel, and he washes his disciples' feet. This is an act that the servant of the host would perform as people arrived for a meal in a house, to wash their dusty feet. And here Jesus is performing the role of both host and servant. It's a profound act and a shocking act. It must have been incredibly disturbing to the disciples, as it evidently was to Peter. And Peter resists. "No, you, Lord, you can't do this to me." And Jesus says, "Unless I do this, you will not have a share in me. You will not have a part in me. You will not belong to me." And suddenly, in that moment, being with Jesus is transformed from simply walking with, following along, watching, to participating in, having a share in, joining in, being with, belonging to. And for all the disciples, it is that belonging that Jesus is calling them into through his serving of them, through his washing their feet. Peter resists, but not in such a determined fashion that he won't give in. Judas, of course, resists in a different way and will absent himself from this group. So he chooses not to belong. In the other Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, there is another image of Jesus serving his disciples. He serves them with food, with bread and wine, and says, "Here I am, this is me, this is my body and my blood. When you do this, I am with you." And in those two actions, the one recorded in John's Gospel of washing the disciples' feet, and the one in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, of the Last Supper of bread and wine, in those two actions, Jesus is saying, "Let me serve you." And that's the foundation of our Christian life, is to allow Jesus to serve us. And when we think, what does that mean? Well, it means, how open are we to Jesus in our prayer? How open are we to Jesus as we live our daily lives, as we make decisions, as we try to work out what to do, as we establish priorities, as we work with our relationships, as we care for others? How open are we to Jesus? Belonging to Jesus means allowing him to serve us, to care for us, to strengthen us, to guide us. And the image, the foundation of that is provided in this meal that we call the Last Supper, although that's not the biblical term. And when I think about this last year that we've been living through, these extraordinary challenges and times of great death and great loss, what do I see but people serving? And how do they serve? Well, they serve through reaching out to the isolated and the lonely, to those who are grieving and those who are suffering, those who are anxious. And they serve through providing food. And every church that has engaged in one way or another in these acts of service are simply doing what Jesus is doing for us, serving through washing feet, serving through providing food. And all those actions that we engage in, all those caring for others through food, through phone calls, through visits, through attention, all of that service flows from Jesus' service to us. We are participating. We have a share in him. We belong to him through our service.